giving just multivitamins as supplements will be enough to replace a balanced meal for brain growth? I already know the answer, but for other people.
No, it's completely a myth and completely a fad. Actually, balanced diet is very much important. A pill or a gummy cannot replace, what the balanced diet is giving.
So we've all heard that old song, Papa kehte hain bada naam karega. And honestly, I want to say it is not just papas. All parents have those dreams. We all have aspirations and we all secretly hope that they will shine. And that's why we set up these little side projects for them. There's swimming classes, football practice, dance lessons, painting workshops. And then one day, you see a 5-year-old on YouTube playing the theme of a pirate movie like a total prodigy. And it makes me wonder, is my child really tapping into their full potential? And if not, then how do I help them get there? Welcome to What's Growing On, the podcast where we talk about growing kids and the growing questions in every parent's mind. Today, we're going to deep dive into a topic that I feel doesn't always get the spotlight that it deserves: brain and cognitive development. And joining me today is Dr. Pawan Mandaviya, who has answered every kind of "is my child keeping up" question that you can imagine, and perhaps even more. And I want to ask you, doctor, you must really hear this comparison question all the time, right?
Yeah, all the time. And the first thing I tell them is a child's brain and cognitive development, it takes place at its own pace.
Yes.
So some start reading at 4, others at 5, and both can be completely fine. What matters is steady progress, not who gets there first. The 3 things which matters is the genetics, the environment which we give them, and the nutrition which we give them. Accordingly, the brain development and the cognitive brain development takes place, because under this wiring is how the child is going to, receive all the information, the processing also all the information, the problem solving skills, all these things, the cognitive development in the future years. All these things are decided by this wiring of the brain cells.
But that's interesting to know that, so what I take away is that no matter how advanced that machine is, we still have to give it those right updates, like you said. We still have to make sure that we are giving it the right kind of fuel every so often to make sure that it's running efficiently. And I didn't know that being a parent should actually come, guys, with a side degree in brain science and IT support as well. So when it comes to, I think my understanding is for this cognitive development, it's a little bit less about ticking all the right boxes, and perhaps it's about spotting those little signs that might say that here I'm learning something new.
Yes.
So, like, for example, if you can maybe say, like you talked about social, you talked about the different signs of cognitive development, maybe you can just expand on that a little bit.
Yes. So there are various milestones. So these milestones are not to compare every children.
No.
This is just that we should keep an eye on our child, that our child is developing properly or not, or whether he needs some extra support.
Right.
So there are some cognitive milestones, there are some language milestones, socio-emotional milestones which we see in a child to see whether he is developing properly or not. So first of all, the cognitive milestones. So you can ask a child to, hold a bottle and open a bottle. So where he is holding a bottle with one hand, he is opening the bottle with the other hand. So we know that the hand-to-hand coordination is going properly. Hand-to-eye coordination is going properly. So these are the cognitive milestones. Whether he is able to solve the puzzles or not, whether he is able to put the boxes in the proper place or not, whether he is able to play Zynga, playing with the cubes and everything. So all these are the cognitive milestones which we can understand whether our toddler is developing in a proper way or not. So this. Various language milestones, like whether the child is able to pronounce 2 to 3 word sentences or not on a day-to-day basis. Like in their local language, he will be saying, "Mummy, mujhe pani do. Mummy, pani do. Mummy, idhar aao." So these 2 to 3 word sentences, whether the child is able to form at 3 to 4 years age or not. So this is very much important. Along with that, the socio and emotional development of the child, whether the child is able to, take the proper cues or not. Whether the other child is angry, other child is crying, whether the child is feeling something or not for that child. As a parent, when the child is doing something, he will look at you. When he's doing something, and they will see, they will read your expression, whether you are angry or not. Whether if you are calm and composed, he will continue doing that. And if he was angry, then he will understand that no, this should not be done. You know,
And that ability to self-regulate your behavior.
yeah,
maybe.
then they will regulate the behavior. So this self-regulation, this all comes from the social and the emotional milestones which are to be developed in such cases.
But what I loved about what you started off by saying, Dr. Pawan, was that these are signs of growth that we should be looking for, but we should not panic
Yes.
if they don't happen, but we should also be observant,
Yes.
and we should not perhaps wait too long.
Yes, yes. These things are, just a basic milestones, but they are over a range of period. Like if child is not reading at the age of 4, you should not panic. You should always look for other cues like pre-reading skills and other things which will give you an idea of the development of the child. Like if the child is listening to stories properly, if the child is able to read the alphabets properly. So all these things will give you a cue that the child is developing properly or not regarding the cognitive part, the language part, and the social and emotional part of the child.
Right.
So all these milestones will give you a cue. But all these things are related, to the genetic workup of the child, the genetics of the child, the environment which we give to the child, and the nutrition part again.
Yes, yes.
So imagine, I will give you an example that imagine if you are buying a car, the engine of the car is the blueprint. If it's what the car is made of. Okay, so it's the genetic of the body. It's what the child is naturally made of. It's the natural ability of the child, which is important. Second is the environment. Environment is the various triggers which we give to the child for the development of the child. Okay, so imagine the roads. If there are no proper roads, the car is not going to work in the proper way. It's not going to attain its full maximum capacity speed.
This is an example lots of people will relate to.
Yeah, so this is the environment which we are giving them. And the third is the nutrition, the real fuel of the body, which we have to give it continuously for it to work in a proper way. So we talked about the 3 important things: the genes of the child, then the environment which we provide for the proper brain development of the child, and third is the nutrition, that is the continuous fuel which is required for the proper brain development. Now talking about the environment, that's the most interesting part. Environment means the triggers which we give to the child for the proper brain development. Okay, so these triggers are of various types. The first is the visual triggers, visual or the spatial triggers which we say. Then comes the auditory and the language triggers, and others are the fine motor triggers. So what are the activities that can be included in the visual triggers so that those part of the brain gets developed properly? So visual triggers as in, like reading books, solving puzzles, blocks, matching various shapes together. So all these things that improves the problem solving skills of the child. Okay. Other than that, there are the auditory and the language triggers, like, the daily day-to-day conversation which you are having, the storytelling part, the singing part. So all these things forms your vocabulary, and going further into the development, the speech development of the child. So it forms a very important part. And third is the fine motor triggers, where you ask the child, like writing, like painting, eating. So it leads to the development of the very small muscles of the hand, which further on goes on to develop the hand-eye coordination of the child. So all these triggers included, they will trigger the various different parts of the brain, which will all together form the cognitive development of the child.
And of course, this development, especially because you referred to storytelling, our cognitive development explodes at bedtime only. So we're reading a story, and then what I'm expecting to be 15 minutes becomes 45 minutes, because then, of course, Inaya's brain is at that point developing.
Yes, that is the most important part of the day. That 15-minute bedtime storytelling time, it's not only about the storytelling. It's not only about the entertainment which we are giving them. The stories which we tell them, the stories which we read, the imaginative stories which we make up, those all things, they build up they light up various brain connections, which I told you, the wirings between the brain cells. They lighten them up, and it leads to proper cognitive development of the brain.
So we shouldn't rush through those precious moments.
Never. It is the best time. It's not only about the brain development, it's also about the bonding. The best bonding time between anyone, parent and their daughter or their son. The bedtime is the most important bonding time. So those 15 minutes are the most precious.
And that's the time when, as working parents, we rush home, and then we're like, jaldi karo, jaldi karo. And then we get upset with our children.
Yes.
Then they go to sleep, then we get upset. So I think it's important to, remember that. Maybe extend it from 15 minutes, start a little early.
The most precious minutes, 9 minutes of your child's day are the 9 minutes. In the 3 minutes is the early, when the child gets up. You should never rush up with completely, you come, you brush your teeth, wear your clothes, do this, do that. You should never rush with all those things. You should always be, hug them, cuddle them in the first few minutes, because those times are the times when they will bond with you. They will go happily to the school. Okay, and the next 3 minutes will be when the child comes from, school. So that's the 3 minutes that are most precious. You should never be like, come again, go to the tuition, go to this classes, it's late, get your lunch done. So you should not do all these things. And the last 3 minutes are the most important minutes, is the sleeping time. At that time, they will tell you all the secrets. When I sleep, it's a routine for me that I make my daughter sleep. I will tell her stories, I will tell her all the things which I did in the day, and then she will open up to me,
Yes.
So if you want that your child should
Connection.
open up to you, you connect with your child, you bonding. None of these parenting experts will be able to help you. You have to bond with your child, with yourself. Spend time with them. Be there for them. It's not about being panicking all the time. I want to take care of the child. You just have to be there for their children. That's it. That's the sole thing.
I think that's the most important thing.
That should be your goal.
Yeah, that is the goal. Just show up, just be
Yes.
there, just be present.
Be present. That's it.
Fabulous. That brings me then to, if nutrition is such an important building block, what are the right things that we should be looking at such that we can optimize the efficiency of our cognitive development?
Yeah, see, there are many neuronutrients which can be given to the children. There are omega-3 fatty acids, like DHA, which is one of the most important neuronutrient. There is choline, there is iodine, there is iron. There are very various vitamins like vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin B6, and vitamin B12. So all these nutrients are very much important in the diet of the child. But in India, due to various cultural traditions and various cultural customs, the child's diet lacks most of the vitamins and nutrients, essential nutrients which are required for the brain development and the eye development of the child. So that's why, if at all some diet contains these things, like fatty fish, like salmon, if at all people eating non-veg, and the eggs also contains choline and also DHA. So this can be included in the regular diet of the child, so that the child has a continuous fuel, which the nutrition part, so that the cognitive and the brain development of the child goes in a proper way.
I think this episode for me is particularly fascinating because I really do want my child to be like that prodigy I referred to at the start of this. And I feel like one thing that we've not focused on enough is DHEA. And I really don't know if she's getting that from her natural diet. So we will think about how we can supplement that. So it's not just for her brain, it is also for my peace of mind. So this brings us to what is my favorite segment, which is called Fad versus Fact. And it's brought to us by Nestlé NANGROW. I get a lot of advice, parents, mothers, WhatsApp circles, but how much of it is accurate? How much of it is credible information? That's why we have you. So we're going to fully exploit your presence today, and you're going to bust some myths for us.
Yeah, sure.
So they're popular parenting legends or myths that might not actually be true. And because we have an expert with us today, we're going to fully exploit your presence, Dr. Pawan. This segment is called Nestlé NANGROW Presents Fad or Fact. So I will ask you, and you will tell me nonsense or this is actually accurate information.
Sure.
So number one, if a toddler is not reading by the age of 4, something is wrong.
No. See, it's a fad, because the cognitive and the brain development of the child, of every child, takes place at its own pace. Every child is different, and if at all the child is not reading at 4, it doesn't mean that the child is abnormal. You should always look for some pre-reading skills, like if the child is able to read the letters, if he enjoys stories, if he is so able to solve the puzzles, if he paints properly. So all these are the signs of growth which you should look for the proper brain and cognitive development of the child.
Wonderful. Okay, myth number 2. Giving just multivitamins as supplements will be enough to replace a balanced meal for brain growth. I already know the answer, but for other people.
No, it's completely a myth and completely a fad. Actually, balanced diet is very much important. A pill or a gummy cannot replace, what the balanced diet is giving. Balanced diet comprises of everything. It's the carbohydrates, it's the proteins, it's the healthy fats. All these things comprises the essential nutrients, the vitamins, which should be given to the child on a daily basis. All this comprises of the balanced diet. Only one single vitamin pill is not going to replace all these things. Okay, we should understand that thing. Also, it's not about only the nutrition part. It's whenever a child is sitting and eating with a family, it's the bonding time with your family. You learn the cultural traditions, your customs, you learn the good manners, the healthy eating habits. A child is eating something, he's smelling the, food, he's texture of the various foods. So he's learning so much inputs are being, so much triggers, the auditory triggers, the visual triggers, the spatial triggers. All this leads to so much brain development of the child. The hand-eye coordination of the child improves because of those things. So all these things also matters a lot. So only one pill is not going to replace the balanced diet.
Okay. If they are eating well, then they're getting enough DHA, right?
Yeah, see, it's very hard to tell this thing in a yes or no thing, because the DHA is a docosahexaaminoic acid, is a omega-3 fatty acid. Okay, it's not present in all the foodstuffs. It's mostly present in fatty fish like salmon. It's present in eggs, but because of various cultural traditions and customs, most of the people may not be able to eat that. And also many times child are fussy eaters. So the nutrient intake, many research have also showed that the child are lacking in this neuronutrients, vitamins, which neuronutrients which we say. So all these things.
So neuronutrients are the ones that we need for
for
optimum
the
brain
optimum
development.
brain, cognitive and eye development of the child. These neuronutrients are very much important.
So my favorite myth right now, screen time, which now today has a lot of educational content as well. Oftentimes, Inaya will come and tell me something and I'll be like, did you learn this in school? And she'll be like, no, I learned it from TV, mama. And I'm like, okay. So screen time with educational content equals to brain development.
No, I'm. It's a fad. I'm completely against this passive screen time, which I say. Active learning is always better than the passive learning. Okay, the child is going to school. If I give example of my daughter, she is learning in IB school. Okay, there are various activities that takes place. They ask them to go and play with the mud. The child interacts with the teacher. The child interacts with various colleagues. Okay, so those coordination, the social interaction, this all are the various triggers which are required for the proper brain development of the child. It's not about always playing games or playing some activities or something like that. No need of that circus. Even the daily day-to-day conversation which you have with your child, these are learning experiences for them.
This is like what my husband tells me all the time.
Yes.
कि इतना कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. You don't have to plan. कि अभी हम book पढ़ेंगे. फिर उसके बाद we're going to do a jigsaw. Sometimes just let us sit and have a conversation.
These all things are actually not needed. The daily day-to-day things which you are doing with your child, the daily conversation which you have with your child, these are enough for the experiences which your child should have actually.
Really? I think we need
Every
to take
time
that.
they will ask you 1 or 2 questions, and once you solve their query, there are 10 new questions arising out of that.
Yeah.
Once you start solving them, there is a whole new experience which they are getting from those things.
And this has to happen at 8 p.m., which is our bedtime.
Yes,
Of course.
Sleeping at bedtime is also, that's a completely different concept. But I will tell you, if you're having daughter, I know you have a daughter at 7 years of age.
Ji.
Your daughter should sleep at 8 to 9,
Kunal,
between 8 to 9
are
p.m.
you listening to this? Can you
Yes.
just say it again, please? And can you say Kunal?
Yeah, Kunal, your daughter should sleep between 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And there's a scientific logic behind that, because the growth hormone, it increases. It's at its peak when the child is in the deep sleep. It's around 9 to 10 p.m. So if your child is sleeping at that time, and if your child is in the deep sleep at that time, the growth hormone is at its peak. So when the growth hormone is good, your child's physical and growth and development takes place at a very good pace, and the child is having better IQ, better brain development and everything. So 8 to 10 hours of sleep is not important. If your child is sleeping at 12 p.m. and 12 a.m. and getting up at 10 a.m. in the morning, it's not important. Your child should sleep at 8 p.m. in the night and get up at 7 a.m. in the morning. So those 8 to 10 hours are most important for you.
I'm done. I don't even need to speak to you anymore. My work is done. And
Yes.
can you also say, I didn't pay you any money to say this?
No, Kunal, she doesn't say anything.
Okay. So I think that really there's a lot to take in, and this has been truly fascinating, because between that blueprint that you suggested that we are born with and that we build in the first 2 years, then there's the environment, and then there's the nutrition. These are the fundamental building blocks towards building cognitive development and really, nurturing those signs of growth. So I really feel, Dr. Pawan, that I have got a crash course, I think, in nutrition science. And I want to thank you so much for being on this show.
That's the goal, not to overwhelm, but to help you see how each piece connects. Because brain development in the early years is like building a house. The stronger the foundation, the more it can support later on.
That's so true. And I think the bricks are love, their play, their learning, and of course, getting the right nutrition.
Yes.
So to all the parents listening, you do not need to be perfect, guys. You just need to be present and to make conscious choices in those early years, especially. So please try not to stress over every little thing. I'm telling myself this as well as I'm telling you right now. Focus on what is in your control. Learn how to celebrate the small wins, and please give your child the best chance that they have to grow, to learn, and to thrive. So that's it from today's episode of What's Growing On, where little questions lead to big answers. And we'll see you next time.